Hi, my name is Caroline. I'm from New Jersey. I'm 22 years old. I got sober when I was 21, and I have 6 months of sobriety. So the first time I drank, I was 15 years old. I was a sophomore. It was the summer after my freshman year of high school. And I remember taking like 5 shots of vodka, like really quickly. It was not casual. And when I felt like drunk, like intoxicated, it was like super warm. And I remember leaning up against like a bureau and just thinking, I understand how like people have a problem with this. Peer pressure influenced the first time I drank a little bit. I really wanted to drink to fit in and like feel cool and feel very a part of. Why I think I took to drinking, especially in high school, was I was just like my entire life. I like a really like restless, anxious kid. Internally, I never felt like I was good enough. I always felt like there was something wrong with me. I was just like really uncomfortable in my own skin and like really, really anxious. So I think drinking was so appealing to me because all that anxiety that I had like festering up inside me was just completely lifted when I took that drink. And it was just like an escape. It was really a way for me to like feel comfortable and exist in the world, and maybe not having a ton of like coping skills growing up, really just like to deal with that and just like feel good about myself. And that's why I think I turned to drinking. And maybe it didn't start out that way, but definitely in the past 3 years, that was a complete crutch. Alcohol, I used it as a complete crutch to like feel good about myself and socialize with people and just like exist in the world. I discovered Adderall about a year after I started drinking, so really early on in high school. I did not have a prescription for it. I had a boyfriend who took Adderall, and then similarly to the way that drinking was very instantaneous, Adderall was like instant, like, oh my gosh, I love this. And that got really bad really quickly. I would steal drugs from him when he wasn't like around. I would do it all the time. I would crush it up, and like I was really young when I was doing this. And that very quickly became like a huge problem for me. I used Adderall it started as a way for me to focus, and I remember I was taking it right before it was my junior year of high school, so it was my ACTs, my SATs, and my AP exam. So it was the spring of my junior year, so I was really stressed out, and my workload felt really unmanageable. I was never like a star student and had just like a ton of low self-esteem around my performance in high school. So when somebody handed me this drug that was like, this will make you smarter and this will make you get good grades, I was like, I'll take it, of course. The success that came with Adderall was as addicting for me as the actual drug, because it did help me study a lot. And I used it similarly in college around just doing schoolwork. It was like instant focus. So the beginning of my drinking started really innocently, I think, as it does with most people. I mean, it's high school, it's experimentation, it's peer pressure, it's sort of like everybody's doing it kind of thing. And I really never thought I had a problem. The first couple of years, it felt very innocent, and kind of like a take it or leave it kind of thing. I could put it down. I really loved drinking, but I could put it down and walk away from it. And then slowly in college, it changed from just like this innocent thing that people do when they socialize and when they go out to, I need this to like exist in the world. I started drinking earlier and earlier. There were a couple of occasions where I would like drink in the mornings, take Adderall to study, and then just keep drinking. It was really like what my life started to revolve around, and just my life became very, very unmanageable very quickly. But yeah, I'd say the progression for me from innocent partying really happened around college, and slowly, but then very, very quickly. I feel like the nature of disease is really progressive. I experienced consequences from my drinking pretty quickly. There were times in high school that I just like got in trouble with my parents really early on. Really, the biggest thing that was actually not what had me stop drinking was my freshman year of college. I got kicked out first semester. I was asked to leave because I had like drank so much on 2 different occasions that I was sent to the hospital to get my stomach pumped. So I took a leave of absence my freshman year of college for 6 weeks, which was like horrible. And that for sure was the first huge red flag that something is wrong. But I was in a lot of denial, and I just really did not want to give up drinking, and I thought I could control it. So drinking and drugs definitely almost instantly were a way for me to escape. I went to a really small private all-girls school, so it was very stressful and very competitive, and I think I internalized a lot of those feelings and just didn't really have any coping skills. Like I just didn't really know how to manage anxiety and stress I was feeling. I kind of my whole life just never really felt comfortable in my own skin for whatever reason. I was super, super hard on myself, like this perfectionist nature. I had an eating disorder really early on in high school, and I don't know, I just like the noise in my head got so intense sometimes. I feel like looking back that drinking and drugs were such an appealing solution, and when I found them, you know, there's like this quote that's like, alcohol and drugs aren't the problem, they're the solution. Because when I found them, in my experience, that was completely how I felt. I was like, I figured out the magic. Like, I can turn off the voices in my head that tell me like I'm a piece of shit and that you're fat and you're ugly and nobody likes you. I can like be that really outgoing, confident, like fun person around my friends. Alcohol completely did that for me. Completely like did for me what I couldn't do for myself. I think there was like just a lot of like self-medication going on. So the process for me of getting sober, looking back, it really was just a culmination of like just bad thing after bad thing after bad thing happening to me, where it really got to the point that I was like, okay, you know, I surrender. I was just like sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I really felt like my life was not going in the direction I wanted it to. And I just remember like laying in bed one night and being like, how did I get here? Like, this is not part of the plan. I was really miserable. I like got really, it felt like painful to live just because my life was so unmanageable and things were just, you know, falling apart at the seams. And I was just like not an active participant in my life, and I really had like hit that bottom, and that's really what led me to the path of sobriety. I really just like started like one day at a time, and that sounds so cheesy, but in my experience, that's just the approach that has worked for me. And I just, one day I was like, I'm not gonna drink just for today. And then I was like, I'm not gonna drink just for today, you know, the next day. And that gave me a week, and instantly my life got better. And like, I just felt so much better. And so much of my drinking and my using was involved my parents, and our relationship had just like literally hit such a breaking point, and things around that with my family got instantly better. My relationship with my friendship started repairing. I went back to school. So my biggest fear when I got sober, I was like, I'm never gonna have fun again. I was terrified that I was giving up like this amazing life. And I mean, getting sober at 21 is like, it's scary because I don't know, that was a huge reason why I drank, and just a huge part of my personality was to have fun and go out and be social. So I was terrified that giving up drinking and drugs basically was a death sentence, but that, like, I can't emphasize this enough, that has not been anything from the truth. I have more fun now going out and like going to parties completely sober and like drinking like soda than I ever did when I was using, just because I remember the entire night. I'm able to like be present and like show up for my friends and just have like meaningful conversations. I can dance so much longer. I'm always like the last one on the dance floor because I stay awake so much longer than everybody else. You actually like look good in pictures and not like a hot mess that whatever, nobody like wants to be around. Yeah, and so I mean, like, I still party and go out and do all that stuff that I was doing in high school and college and that is important to so many young people, but I also have fun in other ways too. I've just discovered so much about myself that I never knew really existed, like when I was drinking and using. Like, I love going to Broadway plays and I love going to concerts, and I love like running again. I've gotten back really into exercise, and I love reading and writing, and fun is just found in more places than like a tequila bottle and like a sweaty nightclub. I just have fun like being with my friends, and I mean, I've laughed harder in sobriety the past year than I ever think I have while I was drinking and drugging. So you can have fun in sobriety, for sure. If I could go back and talk to my younger self, I honestly think I just would have said get sober sooner when I first initially knew I had a problem. Because I mean, I knew, like I said, when I took that first drink, my body just knew, and I was literally like, okay, this is gonna be an issue. And you know, I knew my senior year of high school almost, so if I could really go back in time, I would have just been like, do this now and save yourself like years of like pain and suffering and unmanageability, because it really doesn't get better, and this disease of addiction is progressive and it's insidious, and I just think it gets so much worse. Getting sober young, it's really special, and not a lot of people do it, so I think I would have just said like the earlier the better, and to stop fighting it, because it really didn't get better for me. It got worse. And also that, you know, a big reason why I drank and why I used and why it was so scary to give it up was because it was social, and I was so nervous that like I said, I wasn't gonna have fun, or I was gonna lose my friends, or that people weren't gonna like me and whatever. So I would also just tell myself that your friends are gonna love you more, and the friends that really matter are gonna stick around, and you know, you're gonna make other friends and a lot of even more like deeper, more meaningful relationships. And I mean, the biggest thing, like, you're also just gonna learn to love yourself, and like you'll be your best friend, which was such a foreign concept to me when I was drinking. I hated myself. I mean, sobriety's cool. Like, I've met some of the coolest people in my life in sobriety, and like cool young people that just like are living awesome lives, like smart and fun and funny and beautiful, and like everything that I wanted and want to be like, and just like never thought you could have without drinking and doing drugs. So it's definitely really cool, and it's really awesome, and I think doing it young is like so special.